Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Bande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome. We are at the, let me see, page
208, I think,
208. Okay.
number 2.
Yeah, 208. So we are doing the summary here from the verse 3 to 10. Gaudapada presents the negation of the origination of this world, or the creation of the world, is from a logical point of view. So there are two negations. One is scripture negation, the other is logical negation. And so we're going to look at both. And Gaudapada presents the fact that neither Jiva nor Jagat, they were ever born or created out of Brahman. He used the two most important analogies, the dream world, the dream experienced by the Jiva, the Taijasa, and the other one is the space. Okay, so the space and the dream world are going to serve the purpose to prove that neither the Jiva nor the Jagat were created. They do not really exist. Okay, they appear to exist, but their appearance is not an absolute reality. You know? So we see there are the pots, and the space appears that there are so many spaces. We see in every pot, you know, clay or stainless steel or whatever pot or container or living room or bedroom. There are all kinds of space serving certain utility, you know. But in reality, there is only space. There is only space. There is no space within. There is no space without. But the moment that we bring space within certain walls, that space presents a certain utilitarian value, as we know now. So we need a pot with space. Okay, now doesn't matter. Let's just use the space. Let's boil the water, you know, keeping the water in space. No, space needs some container walls to hold the space. The pot needs, the water needs some walls, such as the walls of a pot. Likewise, consciousness needs some walls, such as the walls of the physical body, to make it appear that there is an inner self, an inner consciousness, an inner space. The individual space is just an appearance due to this projection of all pots, meaning to say the body, physical body is a pot, which gives us the impression that consciousness lives within as the indweller, but in truth, consciousness is all over the place. It's just an illusion. Space is one, consciousness is the one, therefore space within pots were never really created. Consciousness was never really created as Jiva Atma. Space cannot be divided because it is Advaitam. So space is Advaitam, as we know. We may get the impression that was, wow, I had a large space, I divided in 3 rooms. So it appears that the space was divided, but space wasn't divided. Likewise, all the Jivatmas, they are just rooms, apparent rooms, accommodate within space itself, within consciousness itself, which is not divided. The question is the apparent rooms within consciousness is not real. Only consciousness, Advaita consciousness is the only reality. And this consciousness is indivisible and cannot turn into something else because it cannot become many. It cannot multiply because it does not do anything. It is free from anything else that could create actions and results and creations. Furthermore, there is no other principle with which Brahman could bring about the universe. If space is understood, if space is understood, Atma is also more easily understood because they are really similar. This analogy of the space is so brilliant. Consciousness can never be divided. Consciousness does not do anything. Space accommodates everything. Consciousness accommodates all superimpositions produced by the power of Maya without any concern, because consciousness is aware that nothing is going to touch me or affect me. The same way space has no concern about these huge buildings being erected and then later on destroyed, because nothing touches the element called space. Therefore, consciousness is likewise indivisible, untouched, and appear to have many bodies, but the bodies do not touch consciousness. The bodies do not touch consciousness. No? Consciousness is there. The mind is integral part of the body-mind sense complex. Therefore, the body is also Mithya, body is appearance. Okay. The mind is also an appearance. So everything is in there, but consciousness remains as something other than the body and the mind. And the body and the mind are just projections upon I consciousness. It appears that there are many human consciousnesses, enclosed consciousness, but as we know, that's not the case. Consciousness, like space, can never be divided in many consciousness. Therefore, we can never say that, oh, that person has such a consciousness, oh, that other person has expanded his consciousness or her consciousness. No, consciousness is not subject to expansion or change or improvement or betterment. No, consciousness is consciousness, the only reality. The mind is subject to different degrees of qualifications, let's say, So there are minds that are more pure, wiser, focused, generally speaking, higher states of mind, not samadhis or mystical, but waking states of mind. Everybody lives through the awakened state, which is the most important. It's not the mystical, esoteric, or spiritual states. It's just an ordinary awakened state in which every mind has a different state. Even ourselves during the awakened state, we experience a mind in a certain moment which, oh, my mind is really irritable now. Oh, my mind is angry. My mind is, is depressed right now. So in the awakening, within the awakened state, the same individual goes through different states, but consciousness does not go through any of that. We name each apparent enclosed consciousness as the Jiva Atma. And the Jiva Atma is a term that brings together the Atma with the Jiva representing matter and energy, our human nature. and the Atma, our divine or spiritual nature, which is the self-consciousness. So the space within the pot appears to be limited, but fundamentally, what is the nature of that space? You know, the space of a small bedroom, yeah, is somehow being characterized by the walls around and the ceiling around it, you know? And then we say the space is limited. But then when we further examine the situation, you know, we see, no, the space is not limited by the walls and ceilings around it and the floor. The space just pervades the walls and expands infinitely and limitlessly. So the consciousness is also all-pervading, and it's called Paramatma. The Jiva Atma, such as the bedroom, seems to be limited by the walls and ceilings, but only that which represents the Jiva, its material or energetic nature, human nature, but the Atma of the Jiva is just like the space is limitless because it pervades all apparent walls, enclosing this, apparently enclosing the space. But our perception tells that there are many spaces contained by different rooms and whatever, you know, defines a space, contained enclosed space. Our senses are going to say there are many spaces. Our sense will say there are many Jiva Atmas. And these Jiva Atmas were born. How so? They were born by the walls, which define a Jiva Atma as a body and a mind. Were these Jiva Atmas really born? Yes and no. As far as one's material, energetic material, human nature, they were born, but they are not real entities. The real entity is the Atma, which was never born because it was there before the body, mind came into birth, and it's there after the body, mind disappears. Nothing's born. There are not many Jivatmas being born. Gaudapada says that just like pot space, Jivatmas are not born at all. It's undivided, ekatma, undivided consciousness, undivided self. Paramatma and Jivatma are two different words, like total space and the contained space in my bedroom. But space is one undivided principle. Therefore, Jivatma and Paramatma are not at all different, one, and one is not born in the other, out of the other, like pot is space. Therefore, Jivatma and Paramatma are not different. They are the same Atma. No? And we can never say that the inner part was born out of the outer, the inner space was born out of the outer space, you know? How can we say that? No, the outer space is not doing anything because the space is a karta. It just accommodates any superimposition of, you know, namarupas. Pot space is seemingly born, but not really born. Jivatma is seemingly born, but really not born at all. This is the wonderful, brilliant example of space that serves also to prove that Jiva was never born and will never die. Because Jiva is limitless, infinite consciousness, the Atma. The second example, also extremely brilliant, is the dream world. We know that we experience the dream world every night, more often than not. And it's a projection created by our own vasanas, our own mind. It appears to be real while I'm dreaming, but in retrospective, on inquiry, the dream world is seen to be just a projection created by my vasanas. But it appears to be real when I'm dreaming. When I'm dreaming, it's absolutely real. But in retrospective, from another standpoint, the dream world is not real. It's just perception from namarupas coming from the subtle realm of objects. The objects retained mentally, they create the mental subtle universe of feelings, concepts, emotions, memories. This is all part of the subtle world. So we dream. For the dreamer, the dream is not a dream, but is reality. The dream is seemingly created. So, and it was created and it was there. It was real. It is real, but upon awakening, I see, no, it was not real. Okay, so there are 2 points here. One is to establish reality or no reality of any one of these 3 states, the awakening state, the dreaming, and the sleeping state. And the other is to establish that this dream world were project created, originated, or not. We want to see if they were really created. So if it was created by my mind. But as we know, our mind does not have that much power or knowledge to create realities, you know. On a waking up, the dream world is not to be not created because the waker continues to be the same, lying in his or her bed, and nothing was created. This is the point. It appears to have been created, but then when in retrospect, I look and I say nothing was created. It was just a dream. Yeah, the word dream means like that. It was just an illusion. Yeah. Don't ask me how did it happen. I'm a Vedantine. I heard that it's from my vasanas, but I don't know how to project the dream world. So we leave it to Maheshwara. Similarly, Brahman also does not create or cannot create this physical material world out of itself, the same way I, the Vishwa, could not create, or even the dreamer could not create this dream world out of myself, because it appears and disappears, which is an indication that it was not really absolutely created at all. So likewise, Brahman did not originate this physical material universe out of itself, but the world is experienced. Since it's experienced, we say that it was similarly created or similarly originated by God. It appears real because of a certain power which is inherent to Maya, which is integral part of Mitya, the seed of Mitya. Therefore, like dream, this world was never really born. So it's easy for us to establish that the dream world was never really created, because something that is created, it should be there for a certain period of time to be re-examined. And we can never go back to the same dream. Understand? We try sometime. Thus, the space example is used to negate the creation of the jiva. The dream example is used to negate the creation of Jagata. How beautiful. And the most important point here is that we need to understand the Mithya nature of this Vyavaharika, of this physical material universe. And we need to draw the parallel, because it's easy for us to acknowledge the Mithya nature of the dream world once we stand as the awaker. So now we're going to understand the real nature, the dream nature of the waking world, only when we stand as Turiya, because as the awaker interacting with this Jagata, we can't really understand convincingly that this is a dream. You know, we need to intellectually stand in Turiya, in consciousness as Brahman, as consciousness as Turiya, to see that this awakened state is likewise just a projection. That I don't know how Maya does that. I don't know how Maya does the projection of the dream world, but I know that they are projections. And also because when I stand from the angle or from the perspective of pure limitless consciousness or Turiya, I can see that the awakened world is just a superimposition upon myself, which is a projection produced by a certain power of Maya. And I know that Maya can do such a thing because it does overnight when I'm dreaming. It does project with a certain power, and it does project this one. But I need to examine this, standing in consciousness as consciousness, so that I can convincingly understand what the Upanishads are telling us. How are we going to do this shift is the purpose of all these Upanishadic studies and contemplations and nididhyasanas, is to accomplish this shift in a way that you can see to your three entities, the dreamer, the awaker, and the sleeper, from the standpoint of Turiya, and see that each one of these realities is conditional, is conditioned to determine the certain configurations of the mind. And the mind, in a certain configuration, produce the awake state. The mind, on a certain configuration, proportions of the three gunas, is going to produce another state. So if everything is the mind and the gunas producing three orders of reality, that they equally seem to be real, and then we need to see that reality cannot be something that appears to change to become another sort of reality, because the physical reality becomes the dream reality, which becomes the deep sleep reality. So reality is that which does not change. It's always ever present. So we need to understand it, that the only thing that really does not change, never becomes something else, is consciousness. Therefore, consciousness has never really created this world. Maya does so, but as a superimposition upon consciousness. Nama rupas, ornaments of gold superimposed upon gold. Many waves superimposed upon the water of the ocean. So now we got a part that says like, oh, but appears that we have a contradiction here. Many Upanishads seem to say that the world was created or originated by Brahman, from Brahman. Many Upanishads talk on those terms. Gaudapada here anticipates the problem, and saying that presents some statements, Upanishad statements. From this Brahmana born prana, the mind and sense organs in the world, Mandukya Upanishad. Another Taittiriya Upanishad, from that Brahman, which is indeed this Atma, the space is born, from space, and then the elements are born. And then from the elements, the mineral and the vegetal rains evolve. From plants, food evolves. From food, human beings grow. Taittiriya Upanishad. So it presents the creation as originates from Brahman. Okay, it doesn't say the Brahman does anything because all Upanishads unanimously says that Brahman is a karta, does not do anything. But there is a universe, cosmos that is produced, and out of Brahman, although Brahman is not responsible for that, we know that Mr. Maya is to be blamed or applauded, you know, and but it's not a real world, a real manifestation. Yeah. So Gaudapada goes about to say that the Upanishad says all those things, but they never say it clearly. They never do the job to us to the extent to say, yes, there is a universe. It comes out of Brahman in association with, it comes out of Brahman in combination with Maya. That's the best thing. Spirit, consciousness, plus the Prakriti of Maya produce the situation, the circumstance, the environment on which this projection occurs, okay? So the Upanishad says, yes, it all comes fundamentally from Brahman because it's the causeless cause. It does not do anything, but it's the cause. If there is someone to be blamed, it's Brahman, because without Brahman, without consciousness, Maya could not play his trick. Yeah? So it says like that, but it never concludes all of that suggestions to say that it all comes out of Brahman, but it's not real. It's just an appearance. Okay. It does not say, it leaves to us to understand that. But here and there, all Upanishads somehow points to the fact that this world is mithya, and we have a clear understanding of mithya as a third category, is that which is not sat, not the sat, but altogether different. It's mithya, is that which is not existent, really, not non-existent, but apparently existent. All Upanishads present this. And then it also say that everything comes from Brahman, and then the readers of the Upanishads are going to say, okay, and then Brahman is not really a karta because Brahman has produced this universe. No, it's not really like that. Okay, it's just because without Brahman, nothing is possible. Without consciousness, nothing is possible. But everything that appears is a projection, a reflection, a superimposition within Brahman, within consciousness. Just like the mirage upon the the sand of the desert sand. Gaudapada says you need to not be caught up with this or that passage of the Upanishads, otherwise you're going to miss the big picture. The Upanishads must be studied carefully, thoroughly, and completely, so that you can hear, you can pick up on every different statements and piece, and then get the proper conclusion. Without Brahman, nothing is possible. Brahman is the only reality. There is no possibility for any other reality, but within Brahman, apparent realities emerge, and they depend on Brahman. Brahman is free and independent. Maya depends on Brahman. The Prakriti of Maya depends. Everything depends on Brahman. Ishvara depends on Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is to be said to be the causeless cause, and it is absolute occurrence. But when we really study Upanishads, it becomes clear that this cosmos, or this world, or this reality is a mithya reality, which means to say it is there available for what? For transaction and experience, and it appears, but its creation must be negated, and so is the creation of the jiva. The plurality that's seen is really not there, Katha Upanishad. And then other Upanishads are going to also say what Gaudapada is saying. It's just an appearance, it's a projection, it's a mirage. What about the five elements? And then another passage, Kaivalaya Upanishad, saying, earth and water do not belong to me. fire does not belong to me, so Brahman is saying, so none of this belongs to me because none of this is real, okay? I'm not something made out of parts or attributes or belongs, nothing belongs to me because there is only me. I, consciousness, fire does not belong to me. All these 5 elements and every configuration from these elements, they belong to Maya, but Maya is not real. And everything that is constructed out of Maya is not real. Kaivalaya Upanishad. This world is not really there. The creation is seemingly born. It's seemingly born exactly like the creation of the dream world. The dream world is seemingly there when I am in the dream. Upon inquiry in the lights of the teachings of Vedanta, the dream world is seen as just a projection. It's called conditional reality. It depends on certain conditions of the mind. It's called Mithya world. Conditional reality or seeming reality is called Mithya reality. The dream world is seemingly real or under certain condition. All the 3 worlds of the 3 jivas in the 3 states can be experienced, and we can transact. The transaction in the deep sleep state is not really there, but the transactions in the dream and the waking states are there, and the objects are going to serve some utility. So the reality in the dream is that is not questioned, but upon awakening, okay, this is the same concept. The condition for reality of my awakening world here is, what is the condition? Is as long as I'm awakened, this world is real, because the moment that the awaker becomes a dreamer, this world is no longer real. Reality to me will be the dream world, and so on. Therefore, the awakened world is real only in the waking state. The waking world is unreal in the dream state. None of this has absolute reality, but they are available for experience and transaction. And we must transact in this awakening world to establish utilities to any object we experience. And the ultimate utility is to serve as a platform of transaction in which I develop the mental, emotional, intellectual qualifications to understand that I am the only reality. Use this Mithya world, transacting this Mithya world in the awakened state, but never lose the perspective that all of this is not really real. Only of this is Mithya. And my body-mind is also Mithya body-mind, but I need to transact with this Mithya universe of objects, because through such interaction, I develop the purity, the refinement, and the qualifications to understand that I am the only reality. And I lend apparent existence to this cosmos, to this universe of infinite numbers of objects. And I am what? I am the self, I am the Atma, I am consciousness. And this consciousness is not within my physical body, is not outside of this physical body. This consciousness is myself and the physical body and all other bodies and all other inert objects in the cosmos, of course, within me. Or better to say, yeah, we can say everything exists within the scope of I consciousness, because everything is projected upon consciousness. I am so powerful that I lend apparent reality to the dream world by changing my mind and become the dreamer. I lend existence to the waking world by entering my waking mental state. I withdraw existence from both of them when I move into deep sleep, and then there is an experience of no transaction, no interaction, no universe. Therefore, the only reality is I myself to real. The awakening and the dreams are just mere mithya, conditional, apparent realities. I am Satya, the world is mithya, is the message of the Upanishads, all Upanishads. Then Gaudapada brings one more point. It negates the origination of the world by saying that it's only an appearance. In all Upanishads, in all declarations of the Upanishads, it's clear said that Jivatma is not really created out of Paramatma, because Jivatma is Paramatma. Tatvamasi, all Mahavakyas, they just conclude themselves by saying that Jivatma is Paramatma. If Jivatma is Paramatma, Jivatma was never really created by Paramatma, because there is only one Atma. The absolute Atma lives within the body-mind complex as Jivatma or Paramatma within Jivatma. When is Paramatma born? Paramatma is unborn. Therefore, Atma of the Jiva is also unborn. In the Gita, Lord Krishna says, this Atma is neither born at any time, nor does it die at any time. It will neither come to existence, nor will it disappear from existence. It is unborn, eternal, undergoes no change, whatever, and it sees it ever, and it's ever fresh and new, unborn. It's not affected by the body-mind when the body-mind is affected. So, such a statement, the Gita, very, very profound summary of all Vedas, which concludes with the Veda Anta, the declarations of identity and all the unfoldments of those teachings. And this is a complete verse that says that what we are is the self, consciousness. We were never born and will never die. I will neither come to existence, nor I will disappear from existence. I am unborn, eternal, and I don't change, and I'm always fresh and new, because I'm not subject to time, which brings about old age and death. Therefore, I'm always fresh, and I'm never affected. So when we read such a statement, in the second chapter of the Gita, when Krishna was hammering or bombarding Arjuna with the final declarations of identity of Arjuna and everybody else in the battlefield, we read this and we say, wow, it's so powerful, it's so big. What shall I do to believe it, accept it, and claim it? Yeah? How can I claim it? Because if I accept, embrace, and claim it, and then all problems of life are gone. Because every problem is about, I don't want to die. But if I know that I'm something not subject to birth and death, I am consciousness, the witnessing, conscience, subject conscious principle, which bless the body-mind, making the body-mind an experience entity that unfortunately is bound by time. every instrument, anything, any configuration, anything. You know, any telephone, any glass, anything here, the mouse of my computer, everything here has a beginning and an end. Everything that's made out of the gunas is temporal, impermanent, subject to time. So I need to understand that there is something else that is not subject to time, upon which time can be measured. Time cannot be measured unless there is a ground of beingness, which is not subject to time. And this ground of beingness is the Atma, is the self, which shows up as I, myself. So once we understand that there is more to us than just the physical body, or let's say the five koshas, you know, or the physical body, the mental body, the energetic body, the emotional body, the intellect, and the ananda derived by the experience of non-duality. If I understand that there is something behind or before or allowing even the causal body to exist as the seed of the Jiva or the seed of the universe in the macro. So if I understand these teachings, and then if I really do the search, the inquiry, the investigation until I get down to the bottom of my true nature, identity as the Atma, which was never born. No? So it requires some work. We need to submit our minds to the teachings, complete teachings of the Upanishads until this is not only clear intellectually, but it begins to be claimed so that we can live from that perspective of identity. You understand? I am unborn, I will never die, I don't grow old. Those things happens to this instrument, but I'm not the instrument. I will never disappear because I never came into existence. I'm always new. I'm always fresh. Fresh goes in opposition to the body mind that age, you know. So I'm beyond the age, getting old or remaining young forever. I'm beyond all of that. The body is a fact, but I am free. So this this shift or this claim or this deep internalization of our true identity requires certain degree of nididhyasana, kind of obsessive nididhyasana until I have no longer any doubt, until I can claim it fully, until I can see my life being transformed by this claiming. And Swami goes on to say, never think that I was born. Never think, oh my God, I'm growing old. I will die. No. Never think I will take a better birth next life. Never think I will go to a higher dimension. You know, I'm free from all of that, all dimensions, all bodies, all stages in the physical body development. They are just superimpositions upon me. Never say any of those things. If you were never born, how? What is the question of the next birth? And how about liberation? Don't worry all about those things. You need not attain liberation. Why? Because you are something beyond bondage and freedom. You are that in which the concepts of bondage and freedom appears. The teachings of Vedanta is not going to just be synonymous of freedom, but it's just another mithya tool to neutralize the effects of the other tool called ignorance or avidya. We suffer from avidya, power of Maya. Maya has two powers, projecting power and the concealing power. When it projects the energy, it needs a lot of Rajaguna, Vikshepa. And then in order to condense, to densify or grossify, so that this universe appears to be solid to our instruments of perception, it needs to bring forth a lot of tamoguna. And then we have the Jivatma appearing within this creation. And unavoidably, we are under the pressure of Rajas and Tamas as well, Vikshepa and Avarana. So Maya projects with a lot of Vikshepa, but conceals because it has to bring Tamaguna into the recipe to produce and sustain the universe. So then there is no question of bondage or liberation. Bondage and liberation, of course, to the Jivatma under the spell of avidya, ignorance. And Vedanta is going to serve only to neutralize that ignorance. But I will never need to attain liberation because liberation is my nature. That's the point. Liberation is my nature because my limitless nature is free and independent from time and space and everything which is limited by these two principles. Therefore, please bravely claim these now. Don't wait until the last moment, because in the end, if you don't claim it now, your true nature is always ever liberated, always ever free. If you wait to the last moment and then you're gonna shaken with fear and you're gonna invoke your deities or divinities or Ishwara, come please and give me liberation or give me a better birth. You are Turiya, you are free from any and everything of these misconceptions. There are misconceptions and misconceptions. There are many spiritual misconceptions that are good tools. But at the very end, we need to claim our true nature as the only reality and see everything else as misconception. The only real conception which is in harmony with reality is Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. Yes, Aham Brahmasmi. I am consciousness of limitless nature. I'm not the body mind. Trying to remove a non-existent bondage will miserably fail. Wow, somebody is proving to be a bomb, huh? Remember the example, the children play by pressing the coin on the forehead, and then we remove the coin, but the feeling of the coin is still sticking to the forehead, it remains. And then the children say, oh no, hit my head so that the coin falls. No, the coin is not there. There is no bondage upon you. Don't ask the guru to shake your head until the coin fall, because the coin was never there. You realize that you have been struggling to get moksha, to remove this ignorance, which was not really inherent to your true nature, but to your mind. Ignorance was affecting your mind, not your true nature. Therefore, you're going to need to have another set of concepts, and it's going to be a struggle to some time to neutralize these limiting concepts that you have upon yourself, because you have confused your mind to be yourself. Mind is going to always be limited. You are trying to remove this ignorance, This ignorance occurs in your mind, but you are not your mind, but you need to improve your mind to understand that you're not your mind. That's why we have two sets of teachings, karma, dharma, upasana, and shravana, manana, nididhyasana. The first one, you're going to do something to remove those misconceptions that have superimposed your body-mind to yourself. So once you have done some removal of wrong notions and concepts, and then your mind is prepared to enter the Vedantic final stage. And then in that stage, you know, I'm not here to gain anything. I'm just here to make sure that there is no more ignorance or doubts or bits and pieces of a video or confusion between my true nature and my appearing nature as the body-mind. So Vedanta is like a mirror that shows Jivatma its true nature as the Atma. It's going to show that Jivatma has been struggling to remove bondage, but bondage is always going to remain there for the mind. The mind is always going to be limited. The body is always going to be limited. Vedanta is there to show, hey, Jiva, Atma, understand you are the Atma and you are the Jiva. Your true nature resides in the Atma. The Atma does not really need to be improved because it's the one without the second, the only reality. You just need to claim it. But if you confuse your Jiva with the Atma, you're going to spend lives and lives and lives trying to remove the dust of the Jiva, the dust of the mirror. The tragedy is that the more you try to remove ignorance, the more and more you will failure. This goes to people who believe that the process of enlightenment or liberation is a never-end refinement or purification of the body-mind-sense complex. No. You need to shift your sense of identity to the body-mind-sense complex, to consciousness, the only reality. And then you are going to enjoy your freedom, not that you have gained your freedom, you're just enjoying your freedom because before you were confused, you were superimpose your body-mind on yourself. Therefore, Gaudapada negates the creation of the Jiva, the creation of the world with the help of the means, the scriptural means of knowledge between the verse 15 to 30. Spirit of Swami Paramartana, he's such an expert. He presents the structure of every text so nicely. The next topic here is cessation of the mind, verse 31 to 39. From verse 31 to 39, the important topic of Amanibhava is described. What is this? A Vedanta student will study Vedanta very well. If she is reasonably intelligent, she will understand that the world is just a superimposition, mithya. Remember the 4 sessions of what the mithya world is. The origination of this mithya world is to be negated. The existence of this mithya world must be negated. The appearance must be accepted, and the appearance is due to ignorance or maya or vidya. The student will slowly assert the above, but the problem remains that when you use the word world, that word should include your body and your mind as well. Maya. The appearance of the world is due to the power of Maya, the power of projections, and that projects and conceals. What is Maya concealing? It's concealing my true identity as consciousness. And then I hear from the scripture that there are 2 principles operating our human experience. One is satya, absolute reality, and the other is mithya, apparent conditional realities. Yeah? And then the game goes to an end in which the most fundamental sadhana is discrimination between satya and mithya. Mithya is not real, therefore I don't want to be entangled with what is not real because it does not offer us security and peace and stability. I want that which is real, that which is absolutely unchanging. So I need to understand my body and my mind is integral part of mithya as well. So I need to reject my body and my mind as the true representation of what is my real nature. My real nature is not the body. My real nature is not the mind. What I am, who am I, who am I, who am I? So why people in the spiritual circles have this, some, not most people do not come even to that level. But people who are a little bit more advanced, they want to know the nature of the I. Why people want to know the nature of the I? Because the I identified with the body, mind, or the five koshas always feels incomplete, insufficient, inadequate, and with problems, with fears. So I want to know there must be an I beyond the body mind, because the body mind does not offer much to us. I'm looking for something more than the body and the mind may offer me. So I need to come to the point in which I see very clear that the mind and the body is mithya. They are objects within I, consciousness, the only reality. The body and the mind is an object, and an object of experience is any and all things that can be objectified. And I can't objectify my body, I can't objectify my mind, my memories, my feelings, my emotions, my notions. I can objectify everything because I am the Atma in association with this Jiva, the body, mind, sense complex. The mind is experienced. The mind is made up of 5 elements. The mind has attributes. The mind is a flow, a flux of change and modification, as we know. The mind is subject to arrival and departure, as we know. The mind disappears in sleep, appears in the wake, and change in the dream world. If the mind is not negate as mithya, you will continue to identify with the mind as the mind. The final and last, most subtle discrimination is to discriminate the very subtle, refined mind or intellect from consciousness, because it's through the intellect, this center, so to speak, of the mind, that we do the viveka. So when this intellect is so subtle and purified, it still needs to do this discrimination so that it does not confuse certain states, very refined and pure states of the intellect with consciousness. I need to see the body, mind, sense. I need to see the 5 koshas, which includes the Vijnana Maya kosha, which is the intellect, as mithya. And the intellect is the instrument by which I do this viveka. So the intellect has to have the guts, the courage to say, yes, I am just an instrument, at service to Atma. And the Atma has resolved that identification with one's true nature must happen here within this process of discrimination. The intellect is yes, I'm just an instrument. But the good news is the intellect has no problem to do that, because the intellect knows, okay, I am just letting go my inferior nature as the intellect to embrace my superior nature as consciousness. There is no fear. The intellect will never tremble once the intellect understands what is at stake. But we need to let go. of this identification, we need to see all of these 5 koshas objectively. Otherwise, I will always be a samsari. If you are going to judge yourself from the conditions of your mind, intellect will always feel that you are not free. Or you are even going to feel, oh my God, it seems I'm not progressing because I'm still making this fundamental confusion. I'm taking my mind and intellect to be the self. I'm putting my mind on the other side of the fence as Satya, and all the rest I'm keeping on the other side as Mithya. And then the mind now is disguising itself as consciousness and keeping me as a samsari, as a spiritual samsari. The intellect and the mind will always be changing and fluctuating, and I will feel like, oh my God, I was feeling so enlightened a few hours ago, and now I'm feeling disturbed. Confusion, superimposition, misconception, superimposition. You can reduce to some extent these fluctuations of the mind and the intellect by doing sadhana, purify, refine, samadhis, and what. And then you're going to reduce this, but still there will be Priya, Moda, and Pramoda playing because they are the gunas. I am not subject to fluctuation, change, because I am consciousness, the only reality, not subject to any change. The mind is not myself, but it's part of the Mithya world. It's part of my inferior nature as the body-mind-sense complex. If this is not registered clearly, very, very firmly retain this vision, this objectivity, this perception, if it's not really there, Vedanta stood, after Vedanta stood, I look upon myself as the mind. Objective view of the mind, the intellect, of the 5 koshas must be properly established in the mind so that I don't make that confusion. Otherwise, I will feel my mind is changed, I am changed. And then it says something nice. I should never say that I am changing, I'm going through ups and downs. The mind, which is also Mithya, which is not created and not existent at all, but appears along with the world, that appearing mind has got its karma, its parabha. This is nice. So consciousness is not subject to karma. It's not subject to parabhada. If I mix myself, if I confuse myself, I'm going to feel like, oh my God, I am subject to karma. I am subject to parabhada. And then I'm going to go back to the triangular form, and I'm going to ask Ishvara for better parabhada. Very nice. Oh, lovely. We should never get out of this summary for the rest of this year. Nice satsangs it produced. Okie dokie. We meet again this coming Friday with Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Oh, you're going to say something, Lee? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Stay. Lovely to meet with you guys.
Thank you so much.
We meet with Lord Krishna this coming Friday.
Thank you.
Lavender.
Thank you.